How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Riley's Redzone. We're keeping the weekly picks going, and as I mentioned last week, we're getting right on top of it. The guest picks already started. So for the second year in a row, for week 2, I've got Cody with me. I'm excited to have you back for this year. It's a tradition at this point. Week 2, you're starting the tone.
I guess a tradition 2 years in a row. I guess that's the start of the new thing,
I suppose,
right?
yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, consistency. So just like last week, mentioned, no idea, honestly, at this point, if the graphics are going to be below us or not, but we're just making sure we get these out every week. And same thing where one game has already happened. Both of us did go with the Packers, so we're starting off 1-0. I went 11-5 in week 1, so decent start to the season. And now we're going to jump into week 2, what all it's going to bring. So the first game that we're going to talk about is going to be the Patriots and the Dolphins, in which the Patriots just fell to the Raiders last week. The Dolphins looked terrible against the Indianapolis Colts. I really don't know what to make of this game. I'll be honest with you. My logic here, on paper, I do think the Dolphins are going to bounce back. I actually like them to win this game. But when I was going through my picks, I had a little bit lack of upset picks. So I'm going to take a swing with the Patriots here to get a win. But it's probably going to be close.
Yeah, I also think this is a weird game. I'm actually with you. I think the Patriots take this one. It's going to be a random one. I have a feeling it could be low scoring.
Yeah.
I got the Patriots.
Yeah, so we're both going with the same logic here. It's expected to be close. Meanwhile, another matchup between cat teams. This is the Jaguars and the Bengals. Both teams, I think, are interesting this season. The Bengals just able to squeak by a team that you know very well in the Browns. We'll get to talking about that. But here, it's the same thing as always, right? It's usually the offense shows up for the Bengals. Can the defense do so? I'm going to say they get a win this week and continue off to a good start, which is something that hasn't always happened for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Jacksonville for that reason. Cincinnati, they regularly get off to slow starts in seasons. They just barely squeak past the Browns, which, I mean, the Browns look, frankly, atrocious. I love the Browns, but come on. They did not look good in week 1, and Cincinnati just barely got past them. I think Jacksonville wins this one.
Well, speak of the devil, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens did about as much as you can do and to not win a football game against the Buffalo Bills. That was ridiculous. That's got to take a lot out of you, but they still, in my opinion, probably looked like a top 5 team, at least in terms of offense in that game, and they're taking on the Browns, who, like you mentioned, they were close with Cincinnati last week, but right now, favored by almost 2 touchdowns is Baltimore. I think I have to play it safe there and go with the Ravens.
You know, a smart man would pick Baltimore in this game. But crazy things can happen in the NFL. It's the National Football League.
It is.
Give me the Browns.
Okay, an upset pick there to get the board
A little homer
going.
pick, but come on.
You got to do it.
Come through for me, Brown.
Yeah, you got to do it. The Giants and the Cowboys, NFC East battle here. The Giants, I think they could be interesting this season, but I still am concerned. Even the coaching staff didn't seem fully committed to Russell Wilson for this week right away. They're going to go with him, but I imagine not too long till we see Jackson dart. The Cowboys put up a fight against Philadelphia there. I think they actually get a win and deliver this time over New York.
Yeah, they did. They actually did look really good in that Eagles game. I really don't know who to go here because the division's so random. Cowboys are always like somewhere in the middle. So I think they get a win there against the Giants.
So we're sweeping in that one. Rams, Titans. I've talked about it last week, but I think the Titans, Cam Ward's obviously fun to watch, but I don't think the roster is quite ready, but around him, behind him, everything, to really be ready at this stage. And the Rams, with Stafford still in the league, I think you can't count them out at any point. Currently a little over 5-point favorites on most sites are the Rams. To remind everybody, I forgot to mention in the intro, we do pick who we just think is going to win the games, but I usually mention who is favorite just to let you know if there's an upset pick, but I'm going to go with Los Angeles here.
Yeah, this one's an absolute no doubter to me. Maybe the biggest of the weekend. I mean, I think in general, most people probably say the Ravens against the Browns. But this one to me feels really obvious. I got the Rams.
So we're both going with Los Angeles there. The Bills and the Jets. is this the Bills' year? That's got to be the question that's going to be asked. I was very impressed with New York in week 1. They put up a really strong fight against Pittsburgh. Justin Fields looked pretty good, which is great for New York. I do think they're a little bit higher than I had them going into the year, but I think I got to play it safe and go with the team who looked like they could be ready for a Super Bowl type of performance this year in the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think this is... I think the Jets could put up a fight, but I think they'll fall just short against the Bills. I mean, they just seem like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, the division games always seem to be a horse race, like it could be split throughout on the season.
Yeah.
Now, this next game, I'm shocked to see the numbers at where they at. I actually, in my opinion, might have this as the most difficult game to predict because I have mixed feelings on both of these teams. And we're talking about two from the NFC North, the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. And whenever it comes to the NFC North, usually a bit of a rant might occur here. But basically, the Bears, I expect to take a big step up this year. In that first half against Minnesota, I was thinking, okay, here you go. This is what they're going to have. But then same old Bears. That happened in the second half. I expected the Lions to take a step down this year, and obviously they did not look great against Green Bay. But as Green Bay proved already against the Commanders this week, they might be really legit. But for that reason, I, at the moment, still have the Lions ranked a little higher, and they're at home. And I just can't see Dan Campbell letting the team go 0-2 like that. So I'm going to go with Detroit here. But I do like Chicago this year, and it feels really wrong to me if they were 0-2 as well. So one of these teams is going to have to bite it, and I'm going to go with Detroit, but I really think this is going to be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, storylines to be found all over the place coming into this one. Ben Johnson going back, playing his old team. I actually got Chicago in this one.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to look at that week 1 and say, same old Bears. They had a second half collapse, but it was against a team in the Vikings that I think is going to be pretty quality this season. So I think as easy as it is to say, hey, they look awful in the second half, I think they're going to figure things out.
I think that first half they showed is probably closer to what we're going to see from them this season, so that is going to be a fun game to see. Speaking of Seattle versus Pittsburgh, we've got the Seahawks and the Steelers. I don't even know where to start with this game. The Steelers, I think, looked really, really good week 1 against New York, especially offensively. Aaron Rodgers is back, maybe. I mean, maybe he's just back to his old self. He looked really, really good, which is great for him. The Seahawks, I mean, they take on San Francisco last week, and I don't know what to make of them quite yet. Sam Darnold was just not the best, but not bad, I guess. Didn't really do a whole ton in that game. So I think they're going to be in the middle of the pack. Maybe I'm a little bit too overreacting to week 1 here and high on the Steelers, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this game. Yeah,
my mind really says Pittsburgh. But maybe I'm still stuck in 2015 in my childhood. But something about the Seahawks every year makes me so hopeful. That being said, I can't pick against Pittsburgh and how they looked last week. I mean, every year it's we say they're going to get to 9 wins. They're going to get to 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just figure out a way to get there, and I don't see it being any different this year.
And now this next game, the Niners and the Saints. This is more interesting than if you asked me this a week ago, because the Saints on paper, and I think I'll just put it bluntly, might have one of the not best rosters in the league. I think it's really fair to say on paper.
That was about the nicest way you could have put it.
yeah, on paper, of course, as mentioned. Now that the games are played, it's not looking great out there, especially when they had to have QB competition, Spencer Rattler. But that's why you play the games, right? Anybody can prove anything. So on paper, you're going, okay, the Niners would have to roll with this. Well, we got to remember here, folks, Brock Purdy is hurt. And now it's sounding like 2 to 5 weeks. And the backup is Mac Jones, who I think in the San Francisco system probably does okay as this just ride the wave for a couple weeks type of guy. And for that reason, I'm going to stick with San Francisco. But, I mean, even as looking at it, 49ers were going to be touchdown favorites. And already you add a couple points in the Saints' direction with that news. So I'll stick with San Francisco. But I could see the Saints really being scrappy here.
Yeah, I just have absolutely no belief in the Saints. If I was doing the show, I would probably pick against them every single week. Obviously, they're probably going to get a win at some point this season. but the roster's just so terrible. I mean, I think that Mac Jones will probably be able to figure it out. It's just such a quarterback-friendly system, right? It feels like you could put almost any backup in and they'd perform very well. And with San Francisco, it's just such a diverse offense. That's why I get the 49ers.
Yeah, Saints feel like one of those teams that those people in the survivor pools might be consistently picking against until they're proven wrong.
Yeah, my Browns probably too. I would guess.
Yeah, those are the favorites to pick against. Yeah. But for now, we're both going with the Niners. Panthers, Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Cardinals here straight up. I like Bryce Young, what we saw at the end of last season, but I don't know if they're quite ready to compete right now. And the Cardinals, although I don't think they're a top team, maybe this is the year Kyler and them can finally push it over the edge, but I'll go with Arizona kind of just straight up here in what could be an interesting game, but I'll take the Cardinals.
Yeah, this is a weird one to me because both of these teams are like they're, it feels like are bordering on obscurity where it's like you almost just like don't care about that. Like they're just like there. But I actually like the Panthers in this one. I think that they're gonna start figuring it out and start putting things together.
I think they both feel like teams that at their ceiling might be wild card for that reason.
Correct.
You don't want to fully put them out.
Because they're like if they reach their full potential, you maybe have hope in these teams. Exactly. But it's just like it feels like both squads got to make a lot of steps.
Right. Now we're talking Denver and Indianapolis. Denver was a little lackluster for me against Tennessee than what I thought it would be. I had them as a top 10 team going into this season. Really high hopes, in my opinion, to be competitive in the AFC West. Didn't quite have the big win I thought would happen against a Tennessee team that I'm not super high on this year, but their defense obviously did enough to give them the win. Indianapolis looked great against Miami. I think looking back, it's going to be, is that the Colts or was that just the Dolphins or a poor week from the Dolphins? Or, was it an outlier on either end? I think the Colts have, especially when you get a week one like that, one of those magically starts 3-0 type of teams and then falls apart type of blueprint, if you will. But for now, I'm going to go with my gut here, which is the better team in the Broncos. And when I'm making these picks, even though the Colts are at home, I don't have them quite high enough to overtake what my gut tells me, which is Denver here.
Yeah, I think in the end, Denver's the better football team. But I got Indianapolis in this matchup.
Keep it rolling.
Just got a gut feeling. Something tells me.
They looked really good in week one. I think whether Daniel Jones is that guy is going to be a big question. Now, how about this matchup? Philadelphia and Kansas City. I mean, after we were absolutely treated to some games in week one, we get this rematch right here. Ridiculous stuff. And this is a game where I think these are some of the best teams. Despite the Chiefs falling short against the Chargers, it was a good game. You still felt that connection with Patrick Mahomes and that offense and everything. And then the Eagles are the Eagles. I do have the Eagles right now as a top team just in terms of roster and trying to defend it. But in a close game where I have both of these two teams, I think still in the top 5, I'd say right now. For sure the Chiefs are borderline. Because they're at home, I'm going to go with Kansas City, which is considered an upset pick, although the line is 1 point right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a marquee matchup. I can't believe we aren't getting this in prime time. Frankly,
very fair.
It's unbelievable. But I got Philly in that one. It's just something. The Chiefs, they're always going to be contenders in the playoffs. They'll win enough games to get into the playoffs. But I just think the Eagles are the better regular season team, albeit with an added difficulty factor there being on the road.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch, no doubt. Now we get to some primetime games. The Sunday night matchup is Atlanta versus Minnesota. This is in probably the top 3 most difficult games for me to pick this week, honestly. I think that the Falcons impressed a little bit against the Bucs, even though it was a tight game. I liked what they got out of Michael Penix. Minnesota, obviously not the greatest first half, but then J.J. McCarthy showed up in the fourth quarter, which is when you need it most. I think they just need to let him loose, and when they're confident in him, that's when he's at his best. I think the game changer here, though, to keep an eye out on is some injuries for the Vikings, as what I was seeing earlier today, for sure Van Ginkel is going to be out, as well as some other supporting players that may make an impact in this game. But overall, I'm going to stick with my rankings, which is Minnesota here. I do think that they are a legit team, maybe even better than last year's edition, but their record might not say so by when it's all said and done. But I think in this individual matchup, this is going to be a great one. I'll take Minnesota, but maybe one of my more hesitant picks of the week.
Yeah, I said it earlier in this episode. I think Minnesota is a really good team. I think they're going to be a really good team. They got a quarterback. It seems like they found their guy. Really scrappy J.J. McCarthy. Kind of reminds me of Virginia Tech point guard Ben Hammond. Just super to the punch, super hard player. And then I got to go with Atlanta, though. Just something tells me about this team. I mean, they got Robinson out of the backfield. Penix, it seems like putting it together. I think he's really legit. I think he's really going to be a franchise guy. Something is special to me about this Atlanta team.
I do think they could be in the mix right now, especially to make the postseason, which is going to be fun to watch. And now we get to... I don't always love the double Monday nights, I can't lie. At least there's some space here, though. Isn't it later in the year? I think they have it where it kind of merges, which is tough to watch, too, at one time.
Yeah, they play at like 5:15.
Yeah, and then 7:15. Yeah. But here we get 3 hours, so should get most of Game 1. And so Game 1 on Monday is the Bucs and the Texans. I really like this matchup. These are two teams that probably are vying for the postseason. I love the Bucs roster. I was really, at the preseason when I was looking back through every team, shocked how high I had them just because I think this is a stacked squad. I mean, you had a good offense, and you add Emeka Egbuka already to a great offense with that, and he's clicking with Baker right away. The Texans I've been high on now for a couple of seasons, and it always feels like their roster's built really well. They can get pretty far. They just can't go that extra step. And they usually kind of have a couple struggles in the early on season. And they weren't able to get it done against the Rams last week in a lower scoring contest. And when this team's good, it's all if C.J. Stroud is on his point. And this is a game where with them at home, I might lean the home team Texans. But once again, as I mentioned earlier, you got to take some... You can't go 16-0 taking all the favorites, in my opinion. And so one of the swings I'm going to go at here is Baker Mayfield and the gritty Buccaneers team to maybe pull one off on the road in primetime, which is very interesting to see.
You know, for me, it's the last man you named, Baker Mayfield. As a Cleveland fan, disappointed that he left our town, but boy, does that man play with some grit, play with some heart, play with some passion. I think the Buccaneers, they're going to bring that passion down to Houston, and they're going to take it to the Texans.
Now let's close it out with the Chargers and the Raiders. AFC West, that's going to be a fun division, but the Raiders, I think, are going to be more in the mix than they were in the past few years. But I still think they're a little bit of a step away. Los Angeles obviously getting a win over Kansas City. That was maybe even surprising to a lot of people. I didn't go with my gut on that one. I was feeling the Chargers, but the numbers gave me the Chiefs, but definitely my brain gave me the Chiefs. But this Chargers team, this could be really good this year. I mean, when Herbert's on, they're on, and with Harbaugh as the coach, they love to run the football as well. I'm going to go with Los Angeles. I'm a little bit shocked that the separation currently in terms of the odds is not farther in Los Angeles direction, but I'll take the Chargers to close out this week too.
Yeah, I think it ups the difficulty factor with them being on the road, but I think the Chargers are a really legit team. I love what they're doing under Harbaugh. I think it's moving in the right direction. Something's telling me the Raiders on this game.
Okay.
I really think the Chargers are going to make a postseason run. I think they're a really legit team, but I'm just feeling the Raiders.
All right, so we got another split there, which is going to make it interesting for the standings. We're in week 2. This is our first guest pick. I've already started to line up. I think we're going to try to guest pickers again like last year from week 2 the rest of the way. So going to try to work in some more in-person guests throughout this season, have some fun with it. So best of luck to Cody's picks. Best of luck to your picks if you made any, and we'll see if I could keep it going this season as well. But thanks for watching Week 2 picks. We'll be back next week with another edition on Riley's Red Zone.